What is up, everybody? Once again, we are live for another WrestleSense report. This is going to be a fun one. All shits and giggles aside, I got my Fuji, got my Percy with me. I mean, we talked a couple weeks ago about kind of cleaning up the act a little bit here, since YouTube kind of changed some of their rules, enforced some of their rules. So we found a way to curse in different ways. We get very creative, especially these three guys. When we're all together, you guys know how it gets here. So let's give a shout out to everybody who's making it happen in the live chat. As always, Wally's in the house. From the side, of course. Good to see you. Hot Wheels in the building. Good to see you. Aaron West in the house. Miles Stanley Ward is here at MS Dub. Good to see you, my friend. Crushing Kelly's in the building. Always a pleasure. You guys are awesome, man. I really can't thank you guys enough for not only staying with me on my channel for 5 years, but coming over here as we transition over here to what we do here. Good to see you. Patty is in the house. Don't Fuji with your Percy, man. Jeez, haven't you learned? Andy Price is here. Good to see you, Andy. Welcome in. Killshot Matt Storm is in the building. Lady Kenzie's in the house. Yes, we'll be talking about Jay. We'll be talking about a lot of things, but we're also going to put, these guys don't know, I'm going to put them on the spot here tonight for something a little bit later on. We got the game show segment that we started because I love playing game show host. But we're going to set this place on fire like the ring behind me, man. Let's start out in reverse order. You know, we normally start with CJ because me and him always hang out before the chats go. But let's bring on the big man DH to start us off. What's up, man?
Cunts.
How's he doing, man? How's it going?
I can't complain, buddy. It is. I have a little bit of a different look here. It is raining freaking sideways outside.
I heard the thunder.
Some internet issues going on, so I am straight on my phone with data. Let's hope that this holds out and I can do the whole show this way. If not, and I disappear, just know that I can't stand you sons of bitches.
Well, I can tell you this much: you're coming in crystal clear and your audio is perfect. So this is good. This is good.
Roll with it and hope it sticks.
Speaking of not sounding good and having shitty audio, there's Doc. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
You were once ugly, son of a bitch.
Wow, you're one to talk.
That's how we greet each other, man. We greet each other.
Love you.
Love you. Oh, and hey, real quick, I want to send a shout out to my beautiful, lovely wife for having everything set up. I got stuck on grocery duty for my mother, but I got here. I broke 3 traffic violations, and I am here. I'm ready. Let's get it.
Doc, my wife wanted to send you a message.
What?
Oh!
I'd fall asleep and you'd fall in love. Okay.
What do you think about that, CJ? Is it
I like Ray's wife's message to Doc. That's I share the same sentiments.
Proving this message. All right. Well, we got everyone in the building. Make sure you guys hit those thumbs up, share it out like you guys have been. We've been having some great stuff. We're going to find out, we know Ray is watching, so we don't have to go to that little video clip.
Yes, please now.
CJ's favorite word. Maybe we'll go to that one.
Can I get a oh
yeah? But it takes practice to do that, man, doesn't it? It takes practice, right?
I mean, listen, we're talking about practice. Not a game. Yeah.
I'm full of them and full of it.
The rest of what?
Well, we don't even get to the playoffs.
The playoffs? Don't talk about
it. Come on.
Listen, you got me till 9:30, so
here's the one I can overuse and really annoy you guys.
CJ turns into a pumpkin.
This is the way I can really annoy you because this is really long, but I'll just play the beginning.
Hey, I'm just here so I don't get fined, so y'all can sit here and ask me all the questions y'all want to.
See, so that's the name of the game. Are we
talking about wrestling or are we talking about stupid shit?
Oh, stupid shit is first and foremost. And that leads us right into our first segment. We're going to give our 2 cents about what's going on in the world of wrestling. Stay tuned. So before we get into the news, I'll make a big announcement here. Not everyone knows, but you guys know I run my eFed, and we do a show right after this show. So tonight, there will be a special 6-man match with DH, CJ, and Doc versus 3 people from our chat here tonight.
They're gonna lose.
We'll decide that later on tonight. It'll be a Falls Count Anywhere elimination 6-man tag match. That's
I'll
what
I'm out first.
I'll be the first one out.
Nah, you got experience.
So you guys in the chat, if you're not already booked for later's show, we'll do that in the game show segment, and we're gonna have some fun with that. See if these guys can kick some.
I'm stomping skulls and punching balls.
Digital wrestling.
If it's Monstar, take me out the match.
I'm gonna play a speed bag with your bean bag.
Ooh, I like that.
Let's get into the bean bag. Let's talk about two of our favorite wrestlers.
Talk about bean bags.
The industry. We'll start it out with Sami and Kevin. The whole situation between them has been very intriguing. Goes way back, as you see. But what I want to know from you guys is, and we touched on this a little bit before, but where does this go in the next couple months? I know we're heading towards Mania. There's a lot of rumors that we saw these two were going to fight the Usos, this and that, but a lot has to happen between that. So, Ray, where are we going with KO and Sami? Is it going to be like everyone says Sami's going to end up leaving the Bloodline and joining KO, or do you want to see something different?
This is what if I had the book and I had the pencil, this is what I would do. So we are all hoping. They seem to be setting up The Rock versus Roman Reigns for WrestleMania. We all know that.
I disagree.
Rock merchandise came out on the website today. A lot of it.
Plus, I think it starts this upcoming week at Raw 30. They said that they're going to have the Bloodline celebration and the acknowledgement and blah, blah, blah. The perfect setup is for The Rock to acknowledge all the people that came. And you'll have your usual suspects, your Rikishis, your Alpha, your Sika. But the man conspicuous by his absence would be The Rock. And Roman can call out The Rock. How dare you not acknowledge me? Blah, blah, blah. So that's what I would like to see. Shows. I would not like to see The Rock in the Royal Rumble. I don't want to see it.
Fair enough.
I want to see Sami win the Royal Rumble.
Ooh.
I would like to see Sami Zayn win the Royal Rumble and go on to challenge Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber prior to WrestleMania. That way, you have someone for him to feud with. They're obviously going to turn on Sami the minute that he wins, or maybe they don't. They keep playing it light, like, oh, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I'll give you your shot, kid. Blah blah blah. And then you have The Rock come and interrupt the match at Elimination Chamber, possibly causing Roman to lose one of the titles, or maybe he doesn't lose the title. The Rock comes in and distracts whatever. And that's where Sami can flip face finally. Obviously, he's not going to be able to verse Roman in a rematch at WrestleMania, which would then give him and Owens the right to go against the Usos or in a title match in the weeks leading up to WrestleMania. And you kind of get the best of both worlds with all that. I mean, the idea of the Bloodline just straight turning on Sami, I think, sucks. Yeah. The idea of Sami having epiphany and becoming self-aware that he's being used and abused by the Bloodline is more plausible. But what great television would it be as over as Sami is for him to win the Royal Rumble as the underdog, for him to go on to Elimination Chamber? And obviously we know what great workers Sami Zayn are and what a great worker Roman Reigns can be with the right partners. I mean, they could have a barn burner of a match with Sami having so many near falls, and the crowd would be eating out of the palm of their fucking hands.
So many different ways this can go. That's definitely a good one. We're hearing a lot of Cody or Rock winning the Rumble. I'd love to see a different idea like Ray just gave us. So, Doc, will Sami Zayn be thrown in a world title picture, tag team picture, or something else? I mean, do you have any
tag team picture? And I feel that if I'm given the book, I'm having The Rock show up at Raw because it's the 30th anniversary. There's going to be a bunch of legends there already. Hogan's reported going to be there. Flair. It would just be right for The Rock to do that. I feel that he shows up, he ruins Reigns' little party, and then, of course, Sami gets turned on. There's been pictures that have leaked where that Sami Zayn is fighting Roman Reigns at an Elimination Chamber already. So I see that happening. Of course, Roman's going to be victorious. And then I feel that with all the bullshit that the Usos and the Bloodline have been causing, interrupting Raw, causing chaos, I see Adam Pearce coming out and going, okay, you don't have one title match at WrestleMania. You have two. You will face the Royal Rumble winner. He will be able to choose. Of course, Cody's going to choose Raw because that's his brand. And then you also have another title shot against The Rock. And then boom, Roman gets kind of screwed. One belt goes, one belt stays because I see him going over The Rock, unfortunately. And yeah, that's how I see
all
it.
your ideas.
But
mixed that
Where's
with
the
mine.
but
The only change I would do is, like I said, I'd have The Rock be called out at Raw 30 and not show up. No response from The Rock at all. Radio fucking silence.
Mm-hmm.
And then
That'd
an
piss Reigns
elimination
off,
chamber. An elimination chamber once Sami unfortunately loses to Roman, the Bloodline finally flip. All four of them are beating the shit out of Sami in the ring. Owens' music hits. He comes out to save his friend. It's still 4-on-2. They're getting trounced now. And then you hear, "Do you smell?" And
That's
The
gonna
Rock
be
comes
such a
out
pop.
to save an elimination chamber.
But do you do that?
House pour down.
I mean, here's the thing. Do you do that elimination chamber, which is a sort of smaller event? I hate to say it like that. Or do you go for the big one, which is Royal Rumble, which is like the huge one? That's why I thought maybe with the 30th anniversary being such an importance. The only thing I want you to think
about in your idea right there, you're saying about Cody winning the Rumble, about if The Rock shows up, whether it's Sami Zayn that wins the Rumble, whether it's Cody that wins the Rumble, whether it's somebody else, whether The Rock shows up for any purpose in the Royal Rumble, it's automatically overshadowed. And you're taking that moment away from those guys.
So many ways this can go, and that's what's so intriguing about it. CJ, you've talked about, you made no secret, these guys' work rate's amazing. The history's amazing. The story's great. Do you have a take on this?
Here's what I would do. I would prefer to see Sami turn on the Bloodline and not the Bloodline turn on Sami.
Yeah.
I don't think that The Rock needs to be in the Rumble. I do not want to see him in the Rumble.
Agreed.
I think that Sami and Kevin win the tag titles from the Usos at Mania, and I think that Roman beats The Rock because Rock doesn't need the title. He's not going to be around, and if The Rock wins, it does nothing for The Rock. Let's be honest. It does a lot more for Roman.
I just thought about something else.
Cody wins the Rumble.
Kudos goes out to Jason from that wrestling podcast. I just thought about this for a minute, and he kind of brought it to this because we were talking about this a couple days ago. The Rock showing up via satellite,
could be.
That's happened too.
I kind of like what Ray said, where
I like it too.
Has nothing to do with Raw 30. It's a disrespect to the Bloodline.
I didn't even think about the via satellite thing, though.
I would throw one more little wrinkle in there too. How we're talking about Roman having to defend on both nights. I would like to see the Usos defend on both nights. I would like to see Adam Pearce, because of all the shenanigans, do something like that where all titles are going to be defended, not unified titles. And you could then we could re-split up the tag titles by having Sami and Kevin win one set. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I would have the Usos lose the other set as well, because the run's been great, don't get me wrong, but we need new blood with the titles and new feuds.
We're going to go over Raw XXX. The match is booked already here in just a minute, so a lot of the stuff we're talking about will carry on. Let's skip over real quick, because we will get back to these things, to Rampage. We're on Friday night right now. There was a women's street fight. It's getting a lot of good reviews and a lot of criticism. The history of – it's not a lot – here's my take real quick first on it before I let you guys share your thoughts. I don't think there's too much of it. They only done it. You see these three instances here, which have been great matches. And I think it's something that we don't normally see in a women's tag team atmosphere. And I didn't mind the brutality. Ruby had a lot of blood. The spot with Willow's getting a lot of guff because she didn't really land in a table. But how many times did Devon do that? I mean, or Bubba Ray, but
not to the floor.
But here's why I look at that. Anna Jay is okay. She took the bump okay.
She hit her pants.
And she sold it great because she kept it quiet on social media. She was keeping kayfabe alive.
I think I know the answer to this, but any of you guys have a problem with the amount of brutality that the women show every once in a while?
No, zero.
I think it's
zero.
They enjoy it.
They're supposed to be
they really enjoy it, believe it or not. Yeah.
We'll get back to a little bit of AEW stuff when we cover Dynamite
MJF
as well.
came to their defense, which
I agree.
When MJF turns babyface, you better listen.
Yeah, I'm glad we're on the same page with that, because I did hear some criticisms, but hey, everyone's allowed to criticize. That's what everyone's WrestleSense is about. This I thought was funny, and Doc, you're a big horror movie fan. 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, Bianca and Alexa totally reenacted this act from the Scary Movie. Like literally with the arm waving up and everything. They did it to a T. I can't play the video. But it's such a cool little nostalgia thing. Pop culture mixed in with our wrestling has been with us for how fucking long?
I mean, the simple fact that Scary Movie 2 was an amazing movie. Actually, I was working at a movie theater when that came out.
I don't know about all that, but
those were great.
I liked it. Unlike you, I loved it.
Shark till the third one.
It was hilarious. I thought the second one was the funniest one. It did a lot of stupid shit. I mean, take my hand. I mean, come on.
I mean, it's
made the movie.
It's no Saw.
Hey, people call me that whenever I grew out my hair.
There's no comparison to Saw because Saw is definitely the most dominating movie.
More scary.
Yeah, but this isn't a horror movie. This is a parody of Scary Movie.
Calm down.
I know.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Horror genre a little bit.
Thank you. Take my strong hand.
This week we saw Alexa take it out on Bianca, and then we got Uncle Howdy. So here, my take. I've been no secret about that. I didn't want Alexa near Bray this time, but I don't mind the intrigue of it right now and seeing where it goes. As long as she's not spitting up black blood and all this dumb shit.
You know what kind of vibe I get from Alexa this go around? The same vibe that you're getting with Rhea as her being like the head of the Judgment Day.
More control, more power. I dig it. I don't mind it. I've never been a huge Alexa fan, but I'm not totally against it.
I feel Howdy's using her. And you're going to see either Asuka return as that clown heel, which I would love to see.
Kana, yes.
Or Nikki Cross has been hanging out in the back. She's been doing some eerie shit.
Popped up behind the announcers the other night.
Yeah, that was great.
I'm not opposed to any of those things. And what I think we're going to see with Bray Wyatt, I think I briefly touched on this a few weeks ago, but we're literally going to see Bray Wyatt. Like everybody thought that he was going to have the Wyatt 6 and it was going to be his stable. I think it's the exact opposite. He's going to face Uncle Howdy at WrestleMania most likely.
Let me interrupt real quick. I want you to finish. He just said last week, I am Uncle Howdy. I am the red.
He's going to be all 6.
He's all of them. So how will he find himself?
That's the thing is it's the alternate personalities of himself. I wouldn't even mind if technically behind the mask of the Fiend ends up being Bo Dallas. Behind the mask of it actually ends up being Bo Dallas and all these iterations of portions of his brain of characters and the faces of a la the faces of Foley. It's the faces of Bray, but they're all coming back to haunt him now. Or they build this entire stable and he has to run through each iteration. It keeps Bray out of the main event, which we know a lot of the main event guys don't want to work him because they don't come out better on the other side. So you get this intriguing television, this intriguing storyline for Bray. This could run for the next year before Bray finally accepts his fate and it joins them, or before he finally defeats them and they all disappear. And what you have left is just the amalgamation of characters. Right now we're seeing the real Bray Wyatt. He's not doing, like he did the
that's the Bray I like
from
the
most. Rocking chair.
Yeah.
And kind of touched on like that Bray Wyatt, the cult leader Bray Wyatt. But he's not going full bore into any of these characters. He's being himself.
I'm okay with that.
Acknowledging all the different facets that he's done.
I heard a nice theory that it wouldn't be this year, obviously, and we're going to talk about Rumble next week in detail for all the matches. He has that match with LA Knight. But next year, if he's still around doing his same shtick, if he carries it on, like you said, could we see a faces of Foley, like he enters the Rumble 4 times as 4 different people? Like that, I mean,
why not?
It could be done. It could be done.
It could be done, but here's the thing: Foley in the faces of Foley was comical to begin with. This isn't comical. They're not playing it like that, and I hope that it never turns that way. Because the minute you turn it into comedy,
we have the Muscle Man dance, so there's a little bit of comedy in there.
Well, I'm not saying there's not comedy involved, but the minute that character becomes comedy, it loses all credibility.
Agreed.
Gotcha.
I like the one above that
podcast out there. Dolph Ziggler.
I can't.
Oh, there was a stat about Ziggler and Miz that has fought like every year for the past like 8 years, at least once on TV or some shit. It's pretty crazy. Let's talk a little bit about the upcoming Raw Triple X. Don't Google Raw Triple X. You probably won't unless you put wrestling.
Can. That might be your thing.
And you guys touched on a little bit some of the Tatanka's not coming now, but we got a little bit of mix of everything in there.
I bet you Veer's not coming either.
He may be. He may be coming all over your face from the side. Undertaker's intriguing. Ric Flair. HBK obviously working. We just saw Angle when we were there in Pittsburgh. Lawler's always funny to me. He's entertaining, so I want to see what he's going to say.
I just want Teddy Long to cut an incoherent promo that makes zero sense whatsoever.
I bet you Ron Simmons says, damn.
You know there's going to be a random tag team match made.
That's what I'm thinking.
Teddy's just going to come out and be like, play a tag
That would
team
be
match.
good. I think. So let's talk about some of the matches that are already booked, and it looks like it's going to be a star-studded show.
Hey, Hogan's going to be there. Don't forget.
I didn't hear about that one until today.
Nah,
but
me
yeah,
neither.
that interesting.
Hulk's verified. He's there.
Could care less.
Cage match. I love cage matches on TV. Normally they're for pay-per-views and stuff like that, but I dig cage matches on TV. I'm not a big fan of the get out the cage or climb out the cage win, but I think that's probably what this is going to be. Becky and Bayley. I'm never cared for either one of these, to be honest, women, but they've put on some great matches all the way back to, before when they were in NXT and such. So I don't mind the pairing. I think it'll be okay, interesting, unless
it'll be solid. It'll be good storytelling.
I did really enjoy Becky Lynch's promo on Bayley.
Me too. Me
like
too.
harkening back all the way to NXT and
cutting a little deep. Yeah, I dug it. I dug it too. Now, here's what we were talking about. Ray was talking about the titles. There's only the Raw tag titles are on the line for this. Now, that kind of sets out a red flag that they might tease it and not do it and end up doing it later. But yeah, like Ray was saying, there's a lot of rumors, a lot of hype behind the possibility of splitting up these tag team titles. Do we see it here, Ray?
I'll be honest, I wouldn't mind it. I am highly enjoying the work of the Judgment Day right now.
So you're buying Prison Dom.
For all the flack that we gave Dominic Mysterio about not being a star, he's shown more personality, whether it's cringe or whether it's, whatever it might be. He's over in both ways. He's over because they hate him, and he's over because they love to hate him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I still love to hate him.
The Con Dom thing is freaking hilarious.
He's like a true heel.
It's better. And then there are throwbacks to Eddie and Eddie and Rikishi face off was same as him in Solo.
He's finally showing his thing. The pairing with Rhea, and Rhea being the dominant mommy and him being, the
point, Riley. Good
boy
point.
toy and stuff is great. I really enjoy it. And Priest makes them legitimate. Priest is a legitimate badass.
Mm-hmm.
Doc, do you like Prison Dom?
I think it's funny.
It's funny.
Okay. I'm not totally bought into
Doc
it.
was his cellmate, him and Monster.
Oh, jeez. Oh, boy.
I posted something on the Facebook page that Rey Mysterio would have wore a condom. We wouldn't get.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, man.
It was good.
Oh,
No one saw the hot tag. I'm kind of upset.
Right.
No one saw the hot tag?
What hot tag? Oh, into Bodie?
Yeah, I tagged Bodie. I had to go to the bathroom. So I was like, Bodie, tag me. Why? You're in.
U.S. title. Bobby Lashley got the win in the 6-man, which I love elimination. I'm so glad they did an elimination instead of just a one fall when there's multiple people. But I don't know. Does anybody here see Bobby taking the title off of Theory at this point?
I do not.
No,
I don't.
It depends. I would prefer not.
The Hurt Business get back together, maybe.
That'd be the only way.
Here's the thing. I don't want the Hurt Business the way we knew it. I think they've been teasing Shelton, they've been teasing Cedric. But what if we have Omos, which we saw him help Lashley? But what if we have, instead of Omos and Cedric and Shelton, we have the Street Profits? I think they're due for a change. I think they play great cocky heels. And if you put them together, like obviously right now we're seeing the biggest heel stable on Raw has been Judgment Day. Judgment Day is flipping themselves because people are starting to enjoy it. They're loving Dom. They're loving the thing with Rhea. Finn's getting over by his work rate. Priest is getting over by his work rate. They're not really heels anymore. They're kind of tweening right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Hurt Business could go the total opposite way and go back to being true heels. Bobby's a legit badass. You put the 7'9", 13-foot whatever Omos in, he can be protected because now he can just be a heater, work tag matches here and there, keep doing squashes. And then you put one of the best work rate tag teams you have in the Street Profits, who, as good as they are in the ring, their gimmick is stale.
Omos better as a piece of the puzzle instead of the main attraction. I definitely agree with that. But
I want to improved a little bit for sure.
But put him with MVP, put him with this group, and
yeah,
I
but
think
what if,
you can
what
keep
if we
them
see, like I said, the Street Profits come in, and then we see Montez Ford finally start to build to where he becomes the baby face.
I love
Montez.
I'm okay with that.
Montez Ford
now
is
you got me.
We all know it.
I want Montez a single run. I don't want to wait.
He needs a way to. And what worked for The Rock? The Rock was a tweening mid-carder until you put him in the Nation of Domination.
True.
Until he had a group around him to let him kind of flesh that out. I think that's what Montez needs to go to the next step.
I hope we do get some version of the Hurt Business in a new, different way. Would be a very nice way to go. Now, we touched on this earlier as well. Will this be the moment that The Rock comes back, or will it be the shunning of The Rock going through all this lineage and not talking about The Rock that pisses him off enough
I don't
to make
want
it
him
come
to come back for this. I want it to be a shunning.
I mean, I like it either way. I mean, if he shows up, here's the way I think about it, because when WWE has a bunch of big names, they're not normally piling more on. So they might want that Rock moment to be the moment of a Raw or
it should be.
I kind of agree, but I wouldn't mind seeing him show up and throwing a monkey wrench into this either. I mean, it's not even a match. It's a ceremony. So something's got to go with the story. And this story's been the most intriguing to me through the whole line. Like, I think the way you guys were talking about Sami earlier, he stays
Sami
with the Bloodline. He's turning them all face because people are loving to cheer Sami in this group right now.
I agree, but the way you flip that is at Raw 30 is they're acknowledging Roman Reigns and, they're announcing people that come out. Sami should be the one to mention The Rock.
That would be cool.
Why isn't The Rock here?
Yeah, what about Dwayne?
Something like that. And then realize what he said and get that look from Jimmy and Jay and get that slow turn of the head from Roman as if how dare you bring his name up? And then have Roman cut a fucking fire promo on The Rock about I've surpassed everything he's ever done. Blah, blah, blah in this wrestling ring. I ain't leaving for Hollywood even though he is. Blah, blah, blah. And cut that fucking promo where he lambastes The Rock. And we don't get a thing right there. But then that drives the wedge between Sami and them a little more. That sets up for The Rock to answer. And like I said, man, the teases need to happen. I don't want to just see The Rock pop up on Raw. I don't want to see The Rock pop up the following week. I definitely don't want to see The Rock in the Rumble. But maybe we get some teases. Maybe The Rock starts cutting promos or answering questions in interviews on real media.
There are teases of him. I mean, the thing with Sami at the end of the last show when he was kind of reluctant to piss on Kevin Owens when he was laying down, he kind of looked down concerned. Those little tidbits. We got a celebrity in the chat here. Some guy named Eazy-E in the building. Him and EJ going to the show. Enjoy, my friend. Enjoy.
I thought about it.
Here's one of the elephants in the room that we're going to talk about here. The other one on a definitely somber note we will get to, but he's back in power to some extent. He
also paid out more hush money today.
We had a settlement this morning. Devon left the company today. So, I mean, I don't know. I think we're going to see him on TV by the end of the year. Maybe not right away, but I think we're going to see him back on TV because he can.
Then.
I think you'll see him at the 30th anniversary.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, now even some of them are coming out saying he probably won't be on TV until later on in the year. Even Nick Khan had an interview where he was saying, "Hey, if you guys think there's any more than one boss in this company, you're wrong. It's Vince." And I think, people speculated that he's been pretty much kind of in control the whole way.
He is definitely kissing his
Especially
ass.
when people are dropping left and right. You probably would want to. But we'll see. The Vince thing we could rant about for a while, but I think we need to move on. We'll just keep going. We'll get back to it, I'm sure. Here's the stuff about Rita Chatterton with the settlement this morning. Let's talk a little bit about the other thing that happened this week. Let's go back and talk about brother wrestling tag teams that are great. You have the Usos currently, real brothers that are winning matches that are legendary. The Young Bucks, you have
them in Private Party was pretty fire.
Another great tag team, brothers, the Steiners, of course, some of the greatest tag teams that we've seen with the brothers, and now one has split up out of nowhere. This is the last post coming from them boys on Twitter. New hat, and that was the end of it. Just 2 hours later, a car crash took the life of Jay Briscoe. We'll talk about the Dynamite stuff in a little bit. But right now, I just want to mention what happened on Tuesday. They had to change a segment because of it. The New Day came out to do a funeral.
Kudos to Sean, by the way.
And that's a great call. Even I heard Kofi said, hey, we can't do this, Sean. So they were still in the black gear. They used a different excuse why they were out there. But definitely. And the fact that NXT covered it, they mentioned it on the air. But obviously, we all have thoughts about this. It's tragic. It's way more important than any of this wrestling stuff. And if you guys have anything to say, we'll start to CJ if you want to say something about Jay.
I mean, I've never worked with him directly, but I've been on some of the same shows and same locker rooms as him. And I didn't have very much personal interaction with him, but he was always nothing but nice. And he's like, I'd put him, and I know this is saying a lot, and I truly do mean it, but I'd put him along the same lines as like a Brody Lee. You're never going to hear anybody really say anything bad about either of those guys. He was a hardcore family man. He busted his ass. He was a
farmer, wasn't he?
Farmer. Oh. Yeah. And I scoped some of his Facebook stuff, and it's all about his family, him doing his daughter's cheerleading routines with her and whatnot. So, and I won't jump the shark on what me and you had talked about before, but I would like to bring that up whenever we get to it. But, I mean, first and foremost, the wrestling side of it means absolute dog shit.
No.
This guy is a human being, a good family man, and prayers out to his friends, his colleagues. You know, I consider myself one of his colleagues, even though I didn't have that personal connection with him like others have. But, you know, wrestling business, it's a crazy thing. It's like a mafia, and I consider him family and a brother. So, I mean, prayers out to his family, well wishes to, you know, his daughter. I'm not sure if there was any updates on how her back surgery went. Hopefully she'll be able to walk again.
Yeah, both of his daughters were in critical condition last I saw.
The one I heard was stable, but the other one was having surgery on her back.
So, Doc, I was watching Sorg Show the other night, and Tony Kincaid was on. He had a very good point. He was like, something that a lot of people may not realize is, if you go back in the days of ROH, these Briscoe boys were doing these promos in the farm, promos out in the middle of nowhere.
Yes,
now
they
you
were.
see a lot of indies follow suit. They've created that. I mean, a lot of people say, and I agree, Sean Ross Sapp said it last night, the greatest ROH wrestler of all time.
Yes, the thing about the Briscoes, and what you got to look at, is they've paved the way for a lot of these tag teams today that are up and coming, and you know, the ones that are trying to make it. You know, a lot of people, you know, they always talk about watching tape. You know, if you look at the chat, I'm sorry, what's his name? There's a belt in my hand. What's his name? Riley Wolf knows about watching tape, so he'll understand. He'll definitely agree with me on this one. I mean, I watch tape for commentary, but the thing is, with the Briscoes, that is something like a couple of the young guys have even said to me, even like, "Hey, Doc, you know, I know you don't do the work in the ring, but is there anything for promos that you would suggest?" And I always said that watch the Briscoes, watch that one line. That one line, it sticks in my head every day. You know, Terry Funk didn't wear no mouthpiece. That was the greatest promo ever. They're on the farm. You have to check it out. Look it up on YouTube. Terry Funk wore no mouthpiece. Just watch the way they were. They were an amazing tag team. Kudos goes out to one of my closest friends in the world. Ray knows this guy, Bill George. Bill George called me one day. He goes, "You got to check these guys out called the Briscoes." I was like, "What, Briscoes?" I was like, "You mean, you know," and I'm thinking Jerry Briscoe, right? No. He's like, "No, Doc. Check out the Briscoes. Trust me." And I fell in love the minute I heard that promo. And it breaks my heart because, you know, I think Ray can agree, you know, being a father, you know, just knowing the fact that, you know, he's not going to get to see his daughters grow, that right there alone rips me out. Not the fact that I'm never going to see him in another match. Not the fact that, you know, I'm not going to lie, they are one of the top 5 tag teams.
They're Mount Rushmore of tag team wrestling.
Yes, I always wanted to call a match to them. They were on my top 5 list of calling a match. I always wanted to call a Briscoes match. It's just something I always wanted to do. Not that. It's just the simple fact that these 2 little girls, you know, have to grow up without their father, and to me, that's worse than anything to live with. So, I mean, honest to God, RIP to him, and, you know, Jay, fly high, brother.
I think in the long run, we're going to get to Ray in a second, that his death is going to really mean something to the world of pro wrestling, because people make mistakes. He had his homophobic tweet that he did 10 years ago that we'll talk about the tribute stuff when we get to Dynamite. But this man has done nothing but apologize and make
over
up for
and
it.
over and over and over.
And now we're hearing all these great stories of who the real man was. Brody Lee's last match in AEW was a dog collar match. Their last match, big main TV match, was against FTR in a dog collar match. Ray, what's your memories of Jay and some of the great stuff you
I want to touch on the homophobic tweet thing, and we're going to do that later whenever we cover, because I want it to be as straight on about Jay as I possibly can.
Sure.
So I saw the Briscoes the very first time wrestling on TNA Impact whenever they were doing weekly pay-per-views. Jay was like 18. Mark was like 17. Like two young kids doing they were super athletic, super everything. And then obviously they didn't stay with TNA. I kind of lost them for a while. And then whenever we start to see them again in ROH, which, let's be honest, as you said, the Briscoes are Ring of Honor. They were there the entire time. They never left. They've had opportunities.
He was 2-time world champ too, right?
Yeah, 2-time world champ. 13-time tag team champ.
For the hat, 13.
13 is across all federations, but still. Anyways, like Doc touched on, like CJ touched on, their promos and their character work are some of the best you will ever see.
It's real.
Memory, the feud they had back and forth, building a true legit blood feud with FTR when they're not even in the same fucking promotion. Yeah. But yet those promos were must-watch TV, must-watch everything. I remember even us on early versions of the show, dude, did you see that? And me sending it in the chat, and then you guys sending it in the chat. They played their characters. And because they weren't characters, they were who they were.
I was just gonna say.
They were more true to themselves than anybody else in the history of wrestling. I know everybody's heard the cliche and heard the thing of, the best characters are just yourself turned up to 10. They didn't have to turn up to 10. That's who the fuck they were.
They were always at 11.
It's the same reason that I consider myself a good promo, because when I go out there, I'm the same asshole that you're going to find on this podcast or when you walk through my front door. But those guys were just as legit can get. Mm-hmm. And that was awesome about them. And they were great in the ring, of course. And then on the flip side, let's talk about the man. As CJ and Doc alluded to, great father, great family man. These guys turned down multiple offers from WWE because they didn't want to quit their chicken farm, because they had a family business built and they didn't want to screw it up. That meant more to them to have that family farm and run that and make sure it was there for the next generation to them than signing with WWE for a lot of money. I know for a fact 100% there's 2 different times that they turned down WWE. Mm-hmm. And by the way, WWE didn't give a shit about the homophobic tweet.
So we'll get to that a little bit of why, and the tribute on Dynamite. We'll start it out here by saying
I wouldn't say it was much of a tribute.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Well, his hands were tied.
First of all, we'll get to that. ROH SuperCon of Honor on March 31st. Tony Khan has already let us know that will be a tribute show. They taped the tribute show after Dynamite, and if you see Adam Cole's promo or Eddie Kingston after the match, you're probably going to cry if you're an emotional person. I caught little bits of it, and here's my take on the whole thing first before you guys can explain. I think of it. I don't want that to be the main focus on why they didn't do a tribute, and this is the card that we got on top of it. Number one, it was only one day for Tony to plan this out. Number two, yes, there is the problem with Warner that you guys will touch. Number three, I really put it into a business light because people were comparing it to Brody. Brody Lee was an active member of the AEW roster when he passed away. Mm-hmm. Jay Briscoe, unfortunately, was not. He was strictly ROH, and the reasons that you guys can want to talk about it, I don't really care to, why he wasn't. But they did not. I mean, throughout the whole show, armbands, the moves that were used, so many things that went back to him. You saw the Bucks, everyone pointing up, saying they love you, Jay, and things like that. Mm-hmm. To me, the show was a complete tribute to him because it was great fucking wrestling. So that's how I choose to look at it. Yes.
I like that point. I do.
There is the Warner part of it that people have brought up that everyone, Tony's not going to confirm that because then he's talking bad about his the company that's showing his show. So he's not going to go there. But I think I want to wait judgment to see this tribute show. All the packages are going to put together for him, the highlights. The second tribute show, which will probably be in February, and then the pay-per-view, because I think this is only beginning of how his death, they want to make it means something and make a change. So yes, the Warner thing, you guys can touch on it. I don't want to really consider that much. CJ, you had a different take on it earlier, and it's fair. And go ahead.
And I mean, honestly, I'm going to give you a little bit of credit, Blaise. I don't disagree with what you said at all. But the problem I have is how little, besides the visuals, that he was mentioned, except for Excalibur saying something. Because right after fucking Dynamite was Dana White's slap bullshit league after he just beat the ever-loving fucking piss out of his wife or girlfriend. That I have a fucking problem with.
I agree.
I get Tony's hands were tied, and I felt like Tony did what was best for the situation, and nobody could fault him for that. This has nothing to do with Tony Khan. His hands were tied, but I have a big problem with fucking Warner Brothers Discovery, whatever the fuck they are, when you fucking postpone slap league bullshit and then have it on right after this with someone who just beat the shit out of their significant other.
The irony is definitely there. And Ray, I know you have a take on this, so I'll let you go.
Look, I don't disagree with either one of your guys' points. And as far as the Dana White thing goes, Dana smacked his wife smacked him. They've been together 20 years. Dana came out and said flat out what a mistake it was, apologized, everything. And people aren't glancing over the Dana White thing, but it definitely seems like they're accepting his apology and taking his credibility and not hurting his credibility, I guess, is the thing. So how is that any different from Mark Briscoe making a comment a decade ago that he has publicly apologized for, over and over again? So to blacklist this man for something a decade ago, let me tell you, you motherfuckers go back in my Facebook or my Twitter or God forbid you ever get a hold of my text thread with any of you guys. And I'm fucking canceled immediately for sure. And it's not like I'm condoning the fact that he, made a slur. I'm not condoning it at all. But people say shit sometimes in the heat of the moment,
out of pocket, out of character,
out of context. And you know what? If you're man enough to own up to it and apologize and get a second chance, tell me how many guys on the AEW rosters are recovering alcoholics, recovering addicts, were in the speaking out movement whenever shit happened. Like any of those things that, you atone for your sins, you're given a second chance, and then you move the fuck on. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they can't move on, I mean, this blocked us as wrestling fans from seeing the FTR Briscoe brothers feud in its full possibility. Like the matches in ROH were great. I'm not taking anything away from those, but if they were allowed on TV and they could have been jumping each other and cutting promos on TV, I mean,
they could have added a lot of fuel.
That feud could have been so much better. And it was already one of the best feuds of the year, if not the best feud of the year. But it could have been so much better, and it was cut off at the fucking knees because you're worried about having to cut a press release. I mean, this is Discovery, Warner Brothers. This is a huge corporation. You got a PR department to answer the fucking emails. Deal with your bullshit.
And I promise you, employees of Warner Brothers Discovery have probably done far worse than that.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
So, Doc, what I want to try to make this about is the fact that we are humans. We make mistakes. We own up to them. And all these great stories about Jay Briscoe that we're going to hear now and going forward, it doesn't eliminate the fact he made a mistake. He owned up to it. A lot of times we don't know what's going on in these people's worlds. I mean, when we're talking about how they are on TV with their character and this, and a lot of them are similar to their characters. I just saw an interview with Will Ospreay. I don't know if you guys saw this. He's on the autism spectrum. And I never knew that. And coming out, explaining it, talking about it, that brings awareness. I think we can take negative things and turn them into awareness. He didn't have a seatbelt on you. If you want to be a seatbelt advocate, maybe that's one thing you can do a little better. There's a lot of things that hopefully come out of this as good. Doc, what are you taking out of it?
Like I said before, I'm not. I don't even want to comment on this. I was very appalled and disgusted at the simple fact that this man contributed so much to this business, and just the simple fact that he was not a bad guy at all, and you're gonna just cover him up. And it's simple fact is, like, I turn it on, there's that slap boxing, and I'm thinking back in my head, wait a minute. But I don't want to get into it. Honest to God, I'll just say one sentence. Everything CJ said, I'm good.
Okay, Doc, I'm going to stay with you, though. So we're going to talk a little bit about the actual wrestling, because this is a wrestling show. This is not a disrespect to anything that happened with Jay Briscoe, like Ray and all you guys said earlier. I think everyone knows real life is way more important. This is our entertainment. But, Doc, pick a match, a show, one of these events from last night, and tell me about why you liked it. Any of these 7 things you see on your screen. We'll go through all 7, but we'll go one by one. Everybody pick one.
I really, really dug the promo with Hangman Page and Renee Paquette. Just the simple awkwardness and just the subtle little comments that she was kind of throwing and he was throwing at her. Yeah, because you have a vengeful wife who's now taking care of her husband who's injured, and Hangman Page, actually still trying to show respect, but also has that bitterness, that anger. That and the Darby Allin Kushida chess match that my 8-year-old was drooling over because Kushida was his favorite in NXT for a while. So just to see him light up, to see 2 of his favorite wrestlers go at it, it was such a phenomenal match. Great storytelling. Darby's arm, they did it well. So
great to see Kushida. CJ, I want you to just add a little bit more to the Hangman Page thing. At the end, he said he has some bridges he wants to mend. Is he talking about the Elite? Is he talking about someone else?
I mean, I feel it could be the Elite. It could be Dark Order. I mean, this might. I'd like to touch on a different match, actually.
Sure, but I just wanted your take on the Hangman thing.
No, it's interesting. And again, we were just talking about this with Jay, realism, and I think that Hangman Page promo had a lot of realism, to it. But this might be an unpopular opinion. Do I think this was a pretty solid show? I do. I think last week was better, but my favorite match actually was the Young Bucks in Top Flight. I felt like it was a banger, and some people may have been surprised that Top Flight went over. However, I wasn't.
That was great.
Talk about a tribute to Jay Briscoe. How about 2 brother tag teams tearing the fucking roof down? That's a tribute to me.
Yeah. It is.
It's a tribute to showing how
like
well these brothers work together.
Taking something negative and putting a positive spin on it. And I do agree with a lot of your sentiments, but still, at the end of the day, even though it's not the end of the day yet, fuck Warner Brothers.
Well, yeah, okay. Ray, pick a match. Tell me about it.
I'm gonna touch on a couple of things here because there's just a few really good points that I don't want to let go.
We'll get all. Go for it.
Starting with the Young Bucks Top Flight thing, I completely agree. It was a great match. I love the fact that they put Top Flight over. What it does now is that gives Top Flight and AR Fox, who have been teaming as a trio, a reason to go after the trios titles. That gives you your buffer feud you need until we put them against the House of Black. That's a
I wouldn't even mind Top Flight versus Acclaimed.
Some entertaining, great matches for the trios titles. Maybe a little bit bounce back of maybe AR Fox versus Kenny singly, and then we get the trios title match before we get all the way to, like I said, the House of Black feud, which they need some time in between.
Agreed.
The Hangman Page promo, I fucking love. Hangman Adam Page has had the best character development from day one of AEW to now.
People don't give enough credit.
I absolutely don't. His 2-year feud or 2-year storyline to get back to the title that he said he wanted to be the first champion and lost at the first pay-per-view before finally winning it, his loss of confidence, his loss of his friends, and then his gaining of a new family that he didn't want but somehow accepted him. And now we're starting to see Page materialize as the badass that everyone thought he should be. And that's what I like. And the fact that him and Moxley are going to have this, not necessarily like, I hate you feud. This is a I respect you feud, but I will knock your fucking teeth out.
Yeah.
And that could be a great thing for them. Danielson and Bandito had a fucking banger.
I was going to say, can Danielson have a bad match?
A banger of a banger. Him and Bandito worked great together.
They were cheering for Bandito.
Was phenomenal.
As they should.
They were some great spots in that match.
It was great.
Cassidy and Lethal did everything for the comedy wrestling side right, and also worked fantastically together. The shit going on the outside, which should be a distraction, is exactly what you'd expect.
Yeah,
that's how I want to see Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett and Sanjay Dutt booked if they're going to keep them together as a group. Now, I have no problem if Lethal becomes serious and becomes an actual contender because we know how good he is. But if you're going to have this little group, I don't want to see them going for the tag titles. I don't want to see them involved. I want to see them in like Lethal trying to be serious and all the other bullshit being a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, that's funny to me. That's comedy, and let Lethal be the one to back it up in the ring. I don't need to see the fucking stroke anymore. I'd rather see Jarrett being a psycho on the outside, trying to hit people with shit and trying to
now Sanjay gets fired if he hits someone with a guitar, right?
Yeah,
I think that was just last night. Yeah.
It's still funny, yeah.
And then the best friends coming out to egg him on. And
with the beer and popcorn, that was classic.
Danhausen being an usher and shit. It was all great. It was all funny. The Hager-Starks match I could have did without. I don't think he did much.
You're going to pick a worst. I mean, but this show gave us a little bit of everything. A great tag match, some comedy. Kushida was fucking phenomenal. Great to see him. I hope he stays.
That was going to be my last thing. That match was the psychology of that match. For all the shit that Darby Allin's given on the message boards,
I disagree with it.
Technically sound match. They told a great fucking story. He sold like a fucking champion, dude. I mean, that was every bit.
And I enjoyed that finish.
He gets flack for it. You know, he gets flack for the Daredevil shit, which, I mean, he does. But on the flip side, he's a great fucking pro wrestler. A great pro wrestler.
I even enjoyed the women's match. I'm a big Willow and Tony fan. I like the Saraya heel turn.
Did I or didn't I tell you that Saraya and Tony Storm were going heel?
I love it. And we talked about and everyone's talking about right now, the originals versus the outsiders with the women. I really hope they do it. They have it all in line with some great workers to do it. So we'll wait on that one and see where that goes. But it's phenomenal Dynamite, I think, once again. And I'm just looking forward to what's coming next. So what is coming next is our local focus. Next week, we'll get more in depth to it. This week, we're going to talk a little bit about RWA in just a moment. Stay tuned. What I forgot to mention about the AEW Women's Division, but just think about when Thunder Rosa and Chris Statlander come back. Those are two of my favorites as well to come back. So let's talk about RWA, one of our local promotions here to Doc behind the mic.
Fine butts and dudes nuts.
All three of us at one point in time. I worked my one day there, so we've all worked for this company at some point in time. Let's talk about some of the matches that are already made. This is a 14th year anniversary.
14th year anniversary. Honored to be part of this company for that many years. And it's going to be exciting. Tad Jarvis taking on Patrick Hayes for the RWA No Limits Championship. This match right here I've been in the middle of these guys' scuffles. It is not fun. And I'm just excited to see what is going to be in the future of Tad Jarvis and Patrick Hayes, because with this RWA No Limits Championship, there's always a stipulation. So the question is, what stipulation is it, and which competitor is going to be able to take advantage of that?
That's what's so great about this title. If you guys don't know, they don't know the step until the match is about to go down, right?
Exactly.
There's an RWA wrap-up that you guys did not too long ago. I think it was at the last show, where Rev actually came out and he said at the end of the day, and I want to clip that so bad for our final segment because he used our little line. And it was a classic one with you and Church and Tony. It was very good. So if you guys haven't, check out IndieWrestling.us, follow RWA. Their wrap-up shows with Doc are phenomenal. This is great to find out what happened afterwards. And Doc always getting a little dig in, and the work between him and Tony is always gold.
I wouldn't say no digs, because I'll tell you what, lately Project Society has been a thorn in my side when it comes to the wrap-up show, but we'll get into that another time.
We'll get into this matchup coming up next.
Speaking of Project Society.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we will talk about him now.
Project X taking on Daniel Weeds. This is what you call the rubber match. These two are both 1-1 against each other. Project X, I cannot tell you. I don't like the guy too much personally because he's not too nice to me. But I will say this about him. He is a phenomenal athlete. He brings it. I mean, this man has it all. He's also under contract with Control Your Narrative. This man, he does flips. He could just be standing still and he does a 360. It's
I'm
insane.
a Daniel Eads guy.
I'm getting there. Daniel Eads, though, the man of tomorrow, 3-time RWA heavyweight champion. And I will not take anything away from Daniel Eads. Daniel Eads is one thing on his mind and one thing only. He wants a 4th RWA title run. And I mean, I hate to say it, but when you talk about obstacles, Project X is a huge obstacle in that road. So I'm really looking forward to these Titans going one more time, seeing who could get that final win.
So now this is the match I can't wait for. A friend of the show, the Rev, and J-Rock. Now I saw J-Rock post something about Jay Briscoe that he was actually in ROH for a little bit.
Yes.
So both of these men have dipped into ROH a little bit here in the past, so they got their connection. So tell us a little bit about this little.
J-Rock also trained a shit ton of people that were in ROH.
He's absolutely right. Also,
give it up one time.
Give it up one time for the, as I like to say, the self-proclaimed RWA heavyweight champion.
Come on, bro.
Oh,
but
he doesn't even know these.
Monstar, buddy. We've been friends for. I cannot disagree with you.
You just turned yourself here, bud.
Man. Oh, no. Go watch some Eads matches. You'll be very impressed. What I'm going to say about this is
Doc, tell us before you get going. The Rev had an injury that has to do with this scenario too, right?
I was getting there. The Rev's title was stolen from him, and he was injured the same night, concussed. J-Rock pile driving him on like a plethora of chairs. You like that word? I learned it from the Three Amigos movie. And just injuring. And Rev has gone against the medical advice for this matchup. J-Rock, and then steals the title back because he feels that he was stripped of the title, because of him and O'Shea Edwards starting the incident, as we like to call it, at RWA. There was a huge brawl. The wrestlers spilled out. I mean, we had to get people out of the arena for safety. It was just something crazy. Yeah. Thank you, Blaise.
We're allowed to use it now.
Yeah, we're allowed to use it now. I know, but still. The simple fact is J-Rock has been a thorn in the Rev's side for the longest time. So right now, this isn't just about a title. This is about redemption. This is about revenge. This is personal. And these two, I am looking forward to it. I still think, now I'm worried about Rev. He's a good friend of mine. J-Rock is dangerous. He's just one of the most lethal and most dangerous competitors that RWA has. And like I said, it's gonna be a fight to the finish. But I'm really, like I said, as a friend, I'm concerned about Rev, and as a commentator, I'm looking forward to calling this match. And hopefully, Rev can get his title back from J-Rock, who is the rightful RWA heavyweight champion.
Next week,
J-Rock legit is a lunatic. Like,
oh yeah.
Like he's a great wrestling trainer. He's a great wrestler, but J-Rock is he's in some of the best shape of his life, but he's also at that stage in his career where he will take any shortcut, all he cares about is the victory.
Yeah, all he
cares about is giving it up one time, Daddy.
That means exploiting an injury to the Rev and putting his career at risk. He gives no shits.
So we will talk more about this show and something else, but I'm going to save that for my end of the day. We're going to have a little spin of the wheel here and have a little fun for the Rumble. We're going to bring back the quick little segment to end the show here. Let's talk about the game show. So before we go back to the wheel, here are some of the names already in the Rumble. And I don't know if I want all the names. I want some to be a surprise. I like surprises and throwbacks too, but I think we're getting a lot of those throwbacks on Triple X show. We might not see as many in the Rumble, which I like the NXT call-ups too. So, I mean, does any of you guys have one person that you'd like to pick that you would see from NXT to be in the Rumble? Ray?
I'm not going to pick an NXT guy. I'll leave that to the other guys. I just want to say, I like when they do one legit surprise. Like a real surprise. Like when AJ Styles debuted,
Yes.
that was a holy shit moment. I love when they do something like that. I love when they bring somebody back that can still go. Like when Bully Ray came back, and then he was back for a little while. Things like that are really great. Like I don't want to see. I remember, what was that? I don't even know how many years ago, but there was like 10 mystery people, and it was like people who couldn't work anymore. Like you had Hacksaw Jim Duggan with a shirt on tucked into his height. You know what I mean? Making a thing. Like I don't really want to see that at the Royal Rumble. There's only 30 spots. I'd like to see a competitive match, but like 1 or 2 really good surprises is really great, and I hope they do that. I was expecting one of them to be Cody, but they announced Cody.
I'm kind of glad they did. Doc, do you have? It doesn't have to be NXT. A surprise that you'd like to see. There's one name I will specifically talk about in the next frame. So if you,
I would love to see Chris Jericho in the Royal Rumble. I will say it. I would love it
too, but it ain't happening.
Listen, I would love to see that Forbidden Door open. Not only for like New Japan, like what they've done with Shinsuke and stuff. I want to see an AEW wrestler walk out, even if it's someone that was from the past, and just have the crowd be like, holy shit, what is going on? That would just blow people's minds. People's minds.
I do have an idea for a surprise. I'll say it after CJ's.
NXT guy, Carmelo Hayes, and I kind of agree with Rally Wolf, Jay White.
Yeah, Jay White has been rumored to be making an appearance somewhere in the USA. Is it going to be with New Japan Strong, AEW, WWE? We'll see.
How cool would it be to see the Great Muta enter the Royal Rumble?
That was what I thought about the other day.
Yeah.
He's on his final run. Yes, Ray. Yes, 100%. 100,000%.
They just loaned out Shinsuke to work him. So what if that was part of the deal? Was we'll let Shinsuke work this match. In exchange, we'd like to have him. Something he's never done. How cool would that be?
Please let that happen. All right.
And have him throw somebody out that's like worthless. I haven't missed him. That'd be great. He jumps in the ring, missed somebody, and throws him. That'd be awesome.
He wouldn't even have to do much. Zack Ryder has trademarked Zack Ryder. So if he's coming back, it's going to be Zack Ryder, unfortunately. I was going to be Matt Cardona. He trademarked it today, so him and Chelsea Green are pretty much, I think, shoo-ins. I think they're going to be in.
Well, here's the thing about that I want you to think about. So him trademarking it is because WWE let it expire. Yes. So now he owns. Now he gets paid on if they sell any black merchandise, any video games, anything. That's why he did it. Could he come back now as Zack Ryder? Sure, but now WWE loses all leverage to make him be Zack Ryder. Also, because they're going to pay him either way, he's going to own the name either way. So whether he comes back as Matt Cardona or Zack Ryder, they still can't control what he does.
True.
So basically,
but he could also mention though, right? He could they can always say formerly known as
by copywriting Zack Ryder, he gives himself power. Because now when WWE is like, well, we want you to still be Zack Ryder, and be like, well, I can be, but then if I want to go back to the Indies when you fire me,
and if he does show up, I would bet that his merchandise would start showing up on WWE Shop too. So yeah, Ray, you on point. I didn't think of that, and that's a great point. So I think we'll see him in Chelsea, whether it's here or not, we'll see. But we talked about a leaked list of men last week that we saw, and we know this stuff isn't real. It could be fake. It can be change around. But from Liv Morgan being the runner-up at number 1, Chelsea Green at number 2, we got Alba Fire, the only NXT person. A lot of these are just roster members, basically. Ripley winning it from 13. The one that sticks out to me that I would really be surprised because of her match coming up soon is Kairi Sane. I don't see her coming back.
She's not coming back.
But
she signed a new contract with New Japan.
Caitlin's another one. I was a big Caitlin fan. I'd love to see her come back, but I'm hoping
they have Naomi on there at 30 too.
Yeah. Which would be, there's been rumors about her finally coming back too, since Sasha seems to have her ordeal. But that was making the rounds, and I started seeing it on different podcasts talking about. So I figured we'd at least bring it up. Multiple Royal Rumble winners, and here's your 9 that have won more than one. And from the looks of it, no one's going to have an opportunity to win another one unless Randy comes back, which there are teases that RK Bro could be making a return soon, or maybe or Brock. There's another rumor that Brock might end up being back in this one. Who knows? So we will spin the wheel here and get some booking decisions. Here is every Royal Rumble winner ever. And chances are it looks like we're going to get a new face on there this year. And then it could be Cody Rhodes. I'm hearing that so much. I'm hearing it so much that I kind of want it to be something else. and
Cody or Seth,
and let Cody earn it later. You know what I mean? Like I don't like when things become so prominent as a rumor that I just want to see something different sometimes. So let's we did this last week and some of the names are gone, so we'll go right back to it. We're going to start with CJ. Tell me what number you want them to come in. If they eliminate anybody, who eliminates them. Book your Royal Rumble person. CJ Sensation.
Can we please call this the Memorial 46 Elwood Street wheel? Because it's so ghetto.
Bobby Lashley. If he ends up in the Rumble. What would you do with him, CJ?
I mean, you keep him looking strong. I'd put him maybe in like anywhere between 10 to 15. Have him eliminate like 2 or 3 people, and have maybe an Austin Theory, even if he's not in the Rumble, come out and I don't know.
I like that. Hey, maybe the Hurt Business guys come out and help him, and that ties that a little angle in. Okay, Doc up next with KO getting thrown.
Oh man! Yay, my favorite.
Now, this could go a lot of different ways, so I'm interested. How would you do it, Doc?
Well, I'm definitely, he's definitely, if he loses to Roman, I say you find somebody who nobody gives a shit in the Rumble, and you do what Kurt Angle did to Little Guido, stuff like that. He just lost. He's pissed off. He beats the shit out of this person, takes their number, and goes, yeah, I'm coming in. So I would put him in like maybe 22, 23, just as a tease. Just as oh man, maybe this is what's going to happen. Yeah. And then right at the end, unfortunately, he goes.
Hey man, if that did happen, I come in at number 1. I make it all the way to 30 for CJ to throw me out. I'm down.
That'll never happen.
Yeah. I'll be the guy that goes under the bottom rope and then hides under the ring the whole match. And then comes in the
hornswoggle.
And the only reason I say Kevin Owens gets eliminated is because I want to see him capture those tag team titles with Sami Zayn.
All right, Ray. Always love your booking. Let's see what you can pull out of that big head this time around. Oh, goodness. We talked about someone who could win it for multiple times. Brock in the Rumble, possibility. Ray, what would you do?
Look, there's only one way to book Brock Lesnar in the Rumble, in my opinion, and that is literally already happened. And I don't want to see that happen again, but I like when he came in, threw everybody out, was waiting, joking around, and then we had a shock elimination, when McIntyre Claymored him out of the ring. So we can't do that again, even though I thought that was the perfect booking of the Rumble and of Brock. So if I was to do it now, I would have him beat number 30. Everybody is always waiting for number 30. They'd be kind of let down, and it's one of those things that when his music hit at number 30, everybody'd be like, oh, fuck, Brock's winning it. You know what I mean? Like,
and then have him not win it.
Yeah, everything
like
there.
That.
And then, have him come out. And honestly, this would be a great thing to piggyback with CJ's guy. Have Bobby Lashley be one of the last guys there. Right. Maybe one or both of the Street Profits still in the ring. Or Omos, one of those other guys that we're talking about, this potential stable. And they turn and they get Brock out. And then Brock, in a fit of rage, pulls Lashley out, which then sets us up for that WrestleMania rematch that everybody was talking about them possibly having. And that would be the way I would do them, to pull Lashley and Lesnar together, forward the Hurt Business a little bit, build up for a WrestleMania match with those two guys, and also please don't let Brock win the goddamn Rumble again.
If Brock comes back,
would be the only smart way to book it, though. But having him come in at 30 would give everybody that fucking groan of
I like that. See, the Lashley Brock, I really think they will finish what they started when he comes back. But
good with that.
I want to see Brock and Gunther. I want to see that match at some point. Gunther lose the IC title at some point for some shenanigans, who knows, and then give me that match at some point, please, before we can't. All right, my turn. I hate booking stuff, but even though I do it in a fantasy world, and we still got one more thing to book. Matt Riddle. I have him coming down at number 420, smoking a big blunt on a skateboard. No, I just have Riddle come in and do some damage. I have him come in the middle Riddle, not do a little bit of damage, and then set up whoever he's going to feud with next by eliminating him. I mean, pretty plain and simple. I ain't got no big plans for him. Although I wouldn't mind having him in if he comes back and reestablishes himself. I think he's got to come back and reestablish himself. He's been gone for a little while, but I've always been a Riddle fan. I dig him. I like him. I want him to be successful again. I could sit here and talk about the out of the ring stuff, but I don't care. I want to be entertained. These are my entertainers. So we got one last order of business before we leave. And as we do the end of the day chats, you guys in the live chat, we're going to have a 6-man match on LTD tonight. DH Bruiser, CJ Sensation, and Doc will take on 3 members of the chat. So you guys in the chat, let me know who wants in that fight. I'm going to book it right here before we end. So you guys stake your claim.
I think these people in the chat are smarter than to step to these motherfuckers.
We'll see. Like Riley wants to, but he's already booked tonight against somebody, so he can't. So
Monstar and Doc got to get in the ring together.
Monstar's retired. He retired. So we got one vote. Jesse Jackhammer wants a chance. I'll see what the first 3 are. Clinton wants in there.
Nuts.
Clinton McCleary wants in there. The Pope of Dillygaff, he goes by, so he doesn't really give a fuck apparently.
Do I look like I give a fuck?
I like it.
Ooh, Bobby and Brock in a fight pit. I wouldn't mind. So we got one more name to go, but while we're waiting, Hot Wheels, if you were in there, bro, I'd put you in. So we're gonna start with
push your shit in neutral and push you down the ramp.
Here we go, Andy Price.
Yeah, I
love you. Butter on a Pop Tart.
I feel like vehicular homicide is not part of a 6-man tag match.
Andy Clinton, Andy Clinton and Jesse Jackhammer are all booked. So they're booked now. They weren't booked before. So it'll be Jesse Jackhammer and new recruit Clinton McCleary, Andy Price, who are former world tag champs between those two, against these 3 guys in a 6-man Falls Count Anywhere elimination match here tonight. We'll review it next week. I'll even bring up the footage, especially if you guys get your asses handed.
Automatically, we get booked in a Vince Russo match. What the
yeah, thanks. Brawl number 2.
Fucking Judy Bagwell.
Hold on. I'm booking all these matches. Fuck it.
Judy Bagwell on a pole match.
And we're going to end it off with our final thoughts here, like we always do. Forgot to put my game show host background also. F me, I'm a moron. CJ, at the end of the day, my friend.
At the end of the day, again, wrestling doesn't really matter with what happened the other day. And if I'm being honest, like, I've been not doing the best myself entirely mentally, but I'm working on it and I feel good. And fuck Warner Brothers.
And we will be talking about Preston Everest next Thursday as we bring Emily, our lady, back. All right, Doc, at the end of the day.
The end of the day, I want to read a little something that Shane Taylor wrote about Jay Briscoe, if you don't mind.
Sure.
He said, motivation comes in crazy form sometimes. I've accomplished a lot in my 15 years in this sport, a lot more than I should have. Admittedly, there are some goals that I had for one reason or another that I accepted they won't happen. I've came to terms with that. The past couple days has been a wake-up call for me, and there's no way I could look the captain in the eyes until we meet again and say that I didn't try. While they all may not come to fruition, I am going to do everything possible on my end, and that's a promise. And then he puts in bullets. Wrestle in Japan, win the ROH World Championship, win the ROH World Tag Team Championship, win the IWGP Tag Team Championships, and wrestle Samoa Joe. Those are Shane Taylor's goals. And then a quote from Jay Briscoe himself, shit, let's get it then, baby. Ooh. So fly high, sir. Thank you again for everything. And again, Terry Funk never wore no mouthpiece.
There you go.
I'm done.
CJ Sensation at the end of the day.
He already did his.
Oh,
yeah, bud.
I want to hear another one. Right, go ahead.
Okay, fuck Warner Brothers.
Oh! All right. At the end of the day.
All right. At the end of the day, as shoot can be, my prayers go out to Jay Briscoe and his family and the whole Briscoe bunch. It's a tragic loss. And as Shane Taylor put it, man, let that be motivation to everybody. Anything could happen on any given day. Yeah. Jay Briscoe was an athlete of the top level. You know, he wasn't a drug addict. He wasn't anything. This is just literally a tragic accident. You know, a car accident taking the life of somebody with so much potential. he still had another decade in the business easily. And it's a shame that we don't get to see him, but it's a bigger shame that his family can't see him anymore. And as a father, as an uncle, as a best friend, you know, the thought of any of those things of leaving my kids and my nieces and nephews, or leaving my best friends, or having one of my best friends taken from me, is fucking soul crushing. And make the most out of it. I mean, times are busy. Life is shit. You know, we all do everything, but you know, whenever you don't get to see your friends for a month, for 6 months, for a year, when you do see them, don't harp on shit, man.
Yeah.
Catch up.
Life's too
Enjoy every
short.
moment you have with them.
Mhm.
You know, because you never know, that might be the last moment. Kevin Owens put out a tweet talking about his last time talking to her, the last thing. I mean, literally, this could be the last time you motherfuckers see me. Who knows?
Yeah.
And that sucks.
Right.
You know, so take everything. Don't take anything for granted. Always take the opportunity when you have a second to catch up with your friends, your family, whoever. Let stupid shit go, and just, man, and enjoy it, live it. Don't waste it.
Yeah. Well said by all three of you guys. That's why I love you guys. You're my brothers. I say this every time a celebrity dies, especially if you don't really know that celebrity. They may have entertained you, but you do get to find out more about that person. Celebrate people while they're alive. I love you three guys. You guys are like brothers. I love everybody.
Yeah, you're all right.
Everybody in this chat, everybody in this chat who's been through all this with us and continue to come back. I love you guys. I mean, it's amazing to have such a great community and such great friends to do such stuff like this. Because you're right, you never know when you're done. And if I wake up tomorrow and one of you guys are gone, I'll miss you. But I got to tell you I love you. And I got to tell you I appreciate you guys.
We all got to be nicer to each other.
We love you back.
We do.
Yeah.
And at the same time, next week, we'll talk about the Royal Rumble review. Our local focus correspondent, Emily, will be back to join us to talk about 2PW as well.
Talk about that piece of shit, Preston
And
Everest.
if you have not bought tickets for 2PW, what the fuck are you doing? I'm gonna be there.
If you haven't bought tickets for
CJ's
RWA
coming
this
out of
weekend, what the
retirement.
fuck have you done?
I'm going to step in the ring and hopefully not have the mic ripped out of my fucking hands for a change.
Yeah, you literally get to hang out with the entire WrestleSense crew in some form or another. And that very rarely happens because my life is a hectic ball of shit.
All of us.
Yeah, we're all going to be there.
Nope, we can go to Denny's after.
I'm not. I'm going home.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
going
he's going
fucking
home.
bad.
I love you guys. And LTD will be live shortly as these three guys right here will be fighting. We'll see.
Be better. Don't be bitter.
That's right.
These two are going to do all the work. I'm going to go hide. Like the chicken shit hill.
Sounds about right.
Love,
That's
peace,
right.
positivity, and fuck you, CJ.
And fuck
Oh!
Warner Brothers. And
We'll
fuck
save it.
Warner Brothers.